Hello and a very good evening to all of you, and welcome to this live LinkedIn show, Linked Up with Amitha. Now, if you've been following me on LinkedIn, there's no need of self-introducing me. My name is Amitha Amarasinghe, and some of you who are joining live today would have tuned into many other live shows that I've conducted in the past, Sync Up Colombo for that matter. This show, I actually designed a linked up with Amitha as a live talk show about 3 months back. I wanted to do something for the new year, and I planned this like during the last quarter of 2021 as a value addition to all the professionals who are connected to me on LinkedIn. And I thought of kind of like a formula or a format for this program. Now, I'm a professional in marketing field, and I was thinking, okay, should I do like marketing content? But then I thought, okay, a lot of marketing content with other content creators, with Sync Up Colombo, and with my own company, Apidum. So I thought of like to make the show a little broader. So I'm going to do this talk show do this live show as a talk show, inviting guests from various different professions, and that's what this program is going to be, linked up with Amitha. Every other Monday starting from today, I'm going to bring a professional from any field, many field, and I'll be having a wonderful chat with them, bringing value to all our audiences who are tuning in live today. Right. So let me actually tell you some of the objectives of this live show. Basically, I wanted to create a platform for all the professionals on LinkedIn to grow themselves. For them to professionally grow, they need to get some expert opinions, expert advice, experience sharing from other various other people from different industries. And at the same time, I wanted to set a stage for some of the best achievers in different professions who rarely get opportunities to speak on media, on social media. So I wanted to bring them on social media, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook. By the way, this show is live on YouTube today, but starting from the next one, I'll be live on Facebook as well. But for today's session, we are not going live on Facebook. And yes, I wanted to bring some social media exposures to these people. And I'm going to do this in seasons. And the season one will be from January to March 2022. In the season one, I'm going to focus on one type of uh, professionals, or one category of professionals, that is Sri Lankan expats. Now, why I'm starting the show with Sri Lankan expats, showcasing Sri Lankan expats? Because we have quite a lot of Sri Lankans who migrated or who are working temporarily in so many other markets, who have achieved the pinnacle of their careers. They have a wealth of experience, knowledge, and skills to share with you. So, if we can create a platform where we feature some of these Sri Lankan expats who are doing really well in other markets, we can actually share their knowledge, share their exposure, experience with the professionals living in Sri Lanka. So that's my objective of bringing Sri Lankan expats to the picture. Right. Now, with that introduction about the show, now I'm going to introduce you the guest that we are going to bring on screen today. Now, before I introduce you the guest speaker today, let me introduce you the topic. Today, we are going to talk about personal finance IQ, or financial IQ for professionals. Now, why this topic? Now, people are talking about Sri Lanka is in kind of like a verge of a economic crisis. I don't want to use the word crisis sounds a little too negative. Let's say that Sri Lanka is heading towards economic rough seas. Now, when the national economy is heading towards economic rough seas, as individuals, we have to be ready. that's where personal finance become really important. And I thought of bringing on board, bringing one of the best experts that I can find to speak about this topic, because Roshan, I actually had several chats with Roshan about financial planning, personal financial planning. I mean, several years ago, and I have to tell you that that made a huge impact on the way that I manage my personal finance. So I took his advice few years ago, and I'm going to share the same experience with you. So to introduce Roshan, I have a little quick intro reel about him. So let's just listen to the intro reel. Roshan Vitarnage is an all boy of Ananda College, Colombo, and a BSc Marketing Management graduate from the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. After migrating to UK in 2006, Roshan made a career shift into accounting and finance management. He worked as a financial accountant in a London-based accounting firm before he went on to establish his own firm, BVS Accounting, in 2010. In 2018, he entered the mortgage advice space by forming BVS Mortgages and Financial Services Limited, in which Roshan plays the role of Managing Director and Chief Financial Advisor. Roshan is a member of Institute of Public Accountants UK, Institute of Financial Accountants UK, and the London Institute of Banking and Finance. He holds a professional certificate in mortgage advice and practice from the London Institute of Banking and Finance. Above all, Roshan is a wonderful human being and an inspirational self-made entrepreneur from whom we can learn a tremendous amount of valuable life lessons. Hi Roshan, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Hi, Amitha. Thank you very much for inviting me to your first show, and it is a great pleasure.
Great. So, Roshan, thank you very much for actually being a part of this show. So, we are going to talk about personal finance management or financial IQ today. So, I'm sure the listeners or the viewers who are tuning in from LinkedIn and YouTube, they are going to get a whole lot of value. I mean, a value pack from Roshan today. Now we are going to go into deeper level of discussions about personal finance. By the way, like if you are tuning in, please leave a comment and let us know that you are watching. Just leave a comment and let us know that you are watching. I can see that quite a few people have tuned in from LinkedIn today. So just let us know that you are watching by leaving a comment, say hi or hello or whatever, from wherever you are tuning in. Just leave a comment and let us know that you are watching. Now, Roshan, so before we get to the main topic, so tell us a little bit about you. Like, I mean, how would you uh, introduce yourself? A
I
quick
think,
background about yourself?
yes, I think you have already introduced me, so I don't think I need to spend more time on that. But I will tell you a little bit about me. I'm specialized in mortgage and protection advice and SME accounting. So we currently running three firms in the UK. BVS Mortgages providing mortgages and protection advice, and BVS Accounting providing accounting services, and BVS Legal. My wife involved with that, and she's doing that business under BVS brand. So she's providing immigration and conveyancing.
Right, great. So, I mean, that's kind of like a background about yourself, Roshan. So, I know. I mean, there are quite a few people who are joining in today. Like, I mean, who aspire to be a person like you. I mean, build a career in another country, another market, migrate and build a career. Like, I mean, for them, like, I mean, tell us a little more about like your journey, like how you came to UK, and what was your early career like, and what were the some of the unforgettable challenges you faced and how you overcome those challenges. Tell a little about those aspects as well for our listeners.
I think in 2006, when I decided to come to UK, thanks to my wife Shruti, so uh, we, we came to UK in 2000. I think I came to UK in 2007. Then after that, you have to start. It's a tough time for anyone who came to another country. So I have gone through that tough time since 2007, and then start with doing small jobs, and then slowly start a career as accountant in 2010. So after that, in 2018, 16, coming out from my job, and then decided to start another role, uh, which finance side, then which related to finance side, and then started a financial career. So during this time, it is I had to face a lot of challenges because when I start both firms, I have no experience. So sometimes, without experience, when you are starting a business, it is tough. But I managed to learn that, and every day I learn, and then slowly I start those practices, and I'm really happy today what I'm doing.
Great, thanks, Roshan. So I think without further ado, let's get deep dive into the topic that we are going to discuss today, like boosting your financial IQ. So Roshan, like financial IQ. I know that it's a term populated by Robert Kiyosaki, the rich dad guy, and I mean he has been talking about this financial IQ a lot, and I know that you are an avid reader of Robert Kiyosaki's books, and you recommended some great books of him to me as well. So how would someone develop financial IQ? Now we know EQ, we know, I mean, IQ and EQ, people are talking about that. Like, what is FIQ, financial IQ? And what are your advices for those who are still in their early careers in terms of building a good financial IQ?
I will start with this. When it comes to financial IQ, I think is how well you manage your money. I think
Mm-hmm.
so. If you want to manage the money, you know what is the money. Okay, if you don't
Right.
know that, then it is very difficult for you to manage your money. So that's why I think financial IQ is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, I will start with like this. I will make it to 5 stages. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
First one is financial discipline. How
Right.
you can create financial discipline. So that's mean how well you can manage your spending.
Mm-hmm.
That's one.
Right.
So then I will come back to that again, and the
Right.
next one I will say you have to follow. This is the way I uh,
Mm-hmm.
define. You can define the way you want. So the next one I think financially stable. So financially stable is you have income is more than your expenditures. So and
Mm-hmm.
again you have personal assets more than your liabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So then third one I will say financial protection. So financial protection is how well you plan for any unexpected situation. You have a protection policies in place to safeguard your income and assets. So that also very important in your
Right.
financial career. So
Right.
then again, financial, the fourth one we call financial planning. So you have to plan, you have to manage your assets, debts, and savings. How you gonna do that? And
Right.
the last one, I will say financial freedom. I think everyone wants to become financially free. So
Yeah.
you can live rest of your
Yeah.
life.
Now, actually, Roshan, this is really interesting. Now, I mean, I think all these five stages, there is a great logical flow of it. Coming to think about it, like, I mean, like, I mean, why I feel that, like, why most people can't get to the stage five. I mean, the financial freedom. They dream about financial freedom, but they can't get through the first stage.
Yes.
Am I correct? That's the
Yes.
most important stage,
That's the
getting
most.
a financial discipline. And without getting through that stage one, you can never come to the stage five. This is absolutely a great way of putting it. And I mean, this is a model you developed, or
Yes, I
this?
think I thought this is the way it need to be done. So
Uh,
because sometimes people try to do financial planning, but they are trying to do financial planning, but they don't have assets to plan.
right.
So therefore, I think first when you have to develop financial assets and liabilities, without liabilities you can't create assets. So I will come
Yes.
back to that later stage. So that's why I thought this is the way it need to be done. So,
Right.
but you can define the way you want. So this is the my way of doing it, but
Okay.
you can decide.
Yes. Okay, Roshan, go ahead and tell us more about, like, how exactly are we to do this? Like, I mean, to getting our financial discipline right and get into the financial freedom. What
Okay.
e- what exact things one should do as a professional?
Uh, Professionally, I think as a profession, I always want to tell anyone. So first decided how money work.
Hmm.
So because if you don't know how the money work, then you don't know how to manage it. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
if I come to a personal example like that, I know people use credit cards, personal loans, they have mortgages, and they use overdraft. But the problem is they don't know how it
Hmm.
works.
Hmm.
They don't know how it works. If you ask any, if you ask 10 people,
Yeah.
and nine will say, "Oh, do you have a credit card? And do you know what is the interest you pay and how it works?" 9 out of 10 will say they don't know.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Especially credit cards. I don't think. I mean, even. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. Nine out of 10 people will go blank if you ask the question, like, "Do you know how your credit card works?"
yeah, so first you need to understand how the credit card work, how personal loan work, why you take personal loan, and what are the interests you are what interest you're going to pay for that, and how long you're going to pay for that. And these simple things, they are not big things sometimes, they are very
Hmm.
basic things you have to do. So and if you know that, and then you will be financially intelligent, and you will make smarter decision rather than taking if you have a credit card, you go and pay for the holiday. But before you do that, if you know how it work and why you use for that, so then you will take a good financial decisions. I will come back to one example, Amitha. I
Right.
think it will help to
Hmm.
explain this better way. I know
Yeah.
you are running your own business, and I will ask few questions from you. And do you keep record? That's when you
Um,
do bookkeeping for
yes,
you.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We use a bookkeeping and accounting software, and we record everything. Yes.
Everything. Yeah, I expected that answer because as a even in UK, any business
Yeah.
you have to keep records. So you have to keep records for yourself. Doesn't matter, wherever you live. If you are doing a business, you have to keep records. The next question I'm going to ask from you, Amitha, uh,
Hmm.
what records you keep, like what reports you generate uh, every year or every month? What records you generate?
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, since we are using an cloud-based accounting software, we have the real-time access. But like, nevertheless, like, we are having monthly reports in terms of our P&L updates, balance sheet, the cash flow, and everything we are reviewing on a monthly basis, and of course quarterly and annually as well.
Yes, that's the answer actually I expected from you. So we,
Mm-hmm.
we normally check profit and loss account, then the balance sheet, sometimes cash flow and budgets. So you always refer those reports, every day and probably monthly and over yearly. You refer that.
Mm-hmm.
If I ask you the third question, Amitha, uh,
Right.
when you take a decision, a business related to your business,
Mm-hmm.
which report you refer? Which reports you refer?
Well, okay, I'd say, like, I mean, on a day-to-day basis, I'm keeping an eye on my cash flows, and at the same time, of course, on a monthly basis, I'll look at my P&L and balance sheet, where we are in terms of the profitability, and so where we are in terms of our debtors and creditors and all that will be assessed on a monthly basis.
Yeah, thank you, Amit. I think I got the answer I wanted. So you're gonna
Mhm.
look at cash flow and profit and loss account and the balance sheet. So think about when you are taking a financial decision for your business, you're going to look at cash flow and your profit and loss account and the balance sheet. So in profit and loss account, you know your income, how your income is coming, and how
Mhm.
your expenditure going out, and do you have a profit or loss. And when it comes to the balance sheet, you know your financial position in your business, how many fixed assets you got, how many current assets you got, and then short-term liabilities you got one side, and the long-term liabilities, and finally the net assets you got in your balance sheet.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when you take decisions, you not purely looking at the profit and loss account. Here you're going to look at the balance sheet as well.
Mhm.
So why you do that? You want to take a smart decision. So now I want to apply the same basic theory into a personal life. Okay, when it comes to the personal life, when people taking their own decisions, uh, if you take 100 sample, and if you ask the question from them, do you keep records? I think 90 or 95 come out and say, no, we don't need to keep report. We keep everything in our mind. We know in and
Yeah.
out. Okay. Then five might come and say, okay, I keep records. But if you ask what records you keep, they're going to tell that we only keep income and expenditure. So then, when it comes to decision making of the personal
Mhm.
finance decision making, so they're gonna purely look at their income and expenditure, and they make decisions. So do you
Absolutely.
think that gonna work?
Yeah.
So
Never.
it won't work, because
Yeah.
you have to first identify who you are.
Absolutely.
If you have families, then you have to understand who you are. If you are a single person, then you have to understand only that person.
Mhm.
So you have to first identify who you are. Then how you
Yeah.
gonna identify who you are?
This is more about your lifestyle, your expenditure patterns, your fixed expenses. That's what you are referring, Roshan, right? I mean,
Yeah,
having an idea about, like, what's my, like, okay, monthly commitments. How much do I have to pay for my housing loan, car leasing, and credit card, and, like, if I keep a track of it, then I get to know that, okay, these are my weaknesses in terms of my expenses, and these are my strengths in terms of my incomes. I believe that that's what we are
yeah. That's
essentially
what
referring to.
I'm trying to refer, Amitha, because
Mm-hmm.
when you personally take financial decisions,
Mm-hmm.
please identify who you are. How to identify who you are? So I think I shared with you spreadsheet I created
Yes.
by myself.
Yeah, I can bring that up for the benefit of our viewers. Yes, basically, Roshan wants to share this Excel sheet. He will actually talk about this. You can download this Excel template. So let me give you access. Yes. So you can go to bit.ly/Rosh Money, and you'll be able to download this as an Excel workbook. And after that, to access it, the password is Roshmani itself. Yes, Roshan, you can keep explaining how one could use this Excel format to manage their personal finances better.
Thank you, Amitha. Thank you for sharing this with the audience. The last, I told you that you need to find who you are. So, if it is a business, we want to find business positions, financial positions. Then you're gonna record that business fixed assets, then current assets, liabilities. When it comes to liabilities side, you're gonna short term and long term. Then you calculate the net worth, that means net assets of that business. The same simple steps you have to follow for your personal finance as well. So if you can generate a balance sheet, and you can call whatever the name you want, you can create a balance sheet, then you can write down your fixed assets or fixed asset and current assets, and long-term liabilities and short-term liabilities. As example, if you have a property, you can keep that property in the fixed asset section, and if you have a mortgage or home loan, you can keep that in the long-term liabilities section. And again, if you have a motor vehicle, you can keep in the fixed asset section, and whatever the finance you have to pay, you can keep in the long-term liabilities section. When it comes to the current assets, you have bank account, bank balance, whatever short term you have, so you can keep in the current assets section. And short term liabilities, you can keep your personal loans, or you can keep personal loan in the long term or short term, whatever you can decide. So, and credit cards and overdrafts, if you have used overdrafts, you can keep in the short term liabilities. So as soon as you've done this, Amitha, get a figure. The figure is net asset. You have asset section, you have a liability section. So you will get net assets. So then
it's like my net worth, right? I mean, as an individual.
basically your net worth. So basically your net worth. So then you will find the net worth. So this can be one person plus or negative. Okay, if you are in a negative, you are in a trouble. So that means you have your liabilities is more than your assets. But if you are in a positive side, and that's mean very good, because you have more assets than liabilities. So that's a good way of starting.
Actually, Roshan, let me interrupt you there. I mean, this is really interesting for our viewers. I think just like ask the question from yourself, like how many of you actually do this calculation. I mean, like end of the month, you might be getting your pay slip or paycheck, and you know that this much of money coming to my account, and then I keep spending and all that, but you never worry to calculate your net worth. Now we talk about the net worth of Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and all these like billionaires around the world, but nobody really bothers calculating their net worth. This is really interesting. I think Roshan, this Excel format we earlier showed will allow our viewers to do that themselves, right?
Yeah, they can do it themselves.
Perfect.
So, I think it's a very simple spreadsheet, so it is easier to navigate. When you calculate your net assets, that is a key, because before then when it comes to your profit and loss account, then you have all the income and expenses. So what my suggestion is, for anyone want to make a financial decision, they have to check when they are spending money for anything, they have to check what's going to happen to my balance sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they have to check what it's going to happen. So I will take an example here, Amitha.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone wants to buy a car, okay, everyone buying a car. So if anyone wants to buy a car, then they what they're gonna currently doing, probably they know that their income is there and expenses is there. They have a balance to spend, so they're gonna buy a car straight away. Okay,
Right.
so when they buy a car, how it gonna impact to the balance sheet? Nothing. Initially nothing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because if you use your own money, your current assets gonna reduce and your fixed assets gonna increase, so there is
Mm-hmm.
nothing happen in the balance sheet. If
Yeah.
you use a finance, then you get fixed assets to one side and long term liabilities to the one side, so there is nothing changes your net asset. But think about after 1 month. Okay, think about after 1 month, you have to pay for
Yeah.
insurance, you have to pay for service, then you know fuel and lots of expenses coming in. Then
Yeah.
that will impact your profit and loss account straight away.
Mm.
So that's why when you are before you take a decision, you have to see how that decision making will impact your balance sheet. Not that day, after 1 month, 2 months time. So if you know that, then you know how to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Yeah.
know the how money work, and if you know your wealth,
Yeah.
net assets, then you know how to increase your net assets slowly.
Yeah, actually, Roshan, let me ask you a question right there, right? I mean, before that, actually, there's a comment from Muhammad Adil. I mean, Adil commenting saying that the password is incorrect. Adil, don't open the link as a Google spreadsheet. Download it as a Excel to your computer, and after that, enter the password. Then it'll work, right? It's actually a Microsoft Excel file shared on Google Drive. So that's why you might be getting a wrong password message. Download it as Excel onto your laptop or your desktop computer, and then open it in Microsoft Excel, and it'll work then. And we have a question from Vajramali Dilrukshi as well. We'll come to those questions towards the latter part of the discussion. So we'll come to all of your questions towards the latter part of the question. But why I interrupted Roshan is to actually intercept a question right here. Now you talked about the net worth of an individual, net worth of me, for example, and you talked about the difference between the assets and liabilities in my balance sheet. Now I think for for anyone to get to a higher net worth as an individual, one of the very important thing is having the financial discipline. Am I correct? So
Yes.
what are some of your suggestions that people can do to
Okay.
get that financial discipline right? Because out of all the 5 stages you mentioned, I believe this is the most important stage.
That's correct, Amitha. I think financial discipline is the main thing you have to do first. Once you are doing that, then you can do the rest. Okay. So how you can do that is you have to keep records every day or every other day. So you keep record every day, and you have to check your. Think about if you have a bank accounts and credit card balances, and you have to write down these everything in a spreadsheet. So if you write down everything in a spreadsheet, and then you are going to master with this. As example, in that Excel sheet, Amitha, there's a section, I think summary section. Why I created that? Because you have to keep if you have bank accounts, 5 bank accounts, keep that 5 bank accounts and keep the balances and try to update it every day,
Mhm.
or and spend 5-10 minutes every day and update this. So then you
Mhm.
know that what will impact to your balance sheet, and then you can take a
Yeah.
decision. And even personal loan as well. If you have a couple of personal loans, why don't you keep uh, the then keep a loan calculator and identify how much interest you pay every month
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
So
And Roshan, actually add to that, actually one more thing, actually, I mean, I told you that, I mean, I had these discussions with Roshan sometime back as well, and one I remember one tip Roshan gave us back then was like, I mean, check your credit card statements to see whether there are like unwanted automatic payments going. And I actually did that, and I realized that I have subscribed to many unwanted online services which, like, I mean, deducts maybe like $5 a month, $10, $9 $99 a month, and there were few such like expenses being deducted on my credit card, and I did a self evaluation. Do I really need these services? And I realized that I have to actually cancel some of those things. Like, it might seen as a small amount, but end of the year
yes,
that's going to accumulate to a larger sum of money, which you can actually invest in something else, maybe a holiday. Maybe it could end up being the cost of one night stay at some villa or bungalow or something. You keep paying this like $9 for 2 3 services for 12 months period.
yes, correct, Amitha. I think the only problem I will see what everyone is doing. They don't keep this consistently. Consistently, they have to keep the records because they're gonna start. Everyone starts. Sometimes they're gonna start keeping records, but after 1 month, this oh no. So you have to keep the record consistently. I started
Mhm.
keeping record 2010. I still doing it. I still doing it because you have to do this consistently because when you are doing that, so then you will find oh, one expenses is going every month. It is unusual. So let me cancel this. I don't need this. So if you are only doing 1 month and then you stop, you cannot
Absolutely.
become financially smarter. So if you want to become financially smarter, you need to keep record every day. I will say every day because you have to start keeping every day, but later you can slowly reduce the time based on your other
Yeah.
work. You can reduce the time.
Yeah.
Think about people spending time on social media, Amitha. So everyone is
Yeah.
spending 1 hour every day in the social media. Why not spending 10, 15 minutes
Absolutely.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
themselves?
So one thing I actually do is I blocked I mean almost like 2 hours 2 hours every month, nearly 2 to 3 hours every month, like one morning session on a Monday. For me, I mean, I can do that because of the way that I arrange my work. You don't have to do it on Monday. Like, I mean, so I sit back and review all my personal finance decisions and everything. I review it on a monthly basis, as Roshan advised, and I keep records of everything which goes out of my pocket and which comes into my pocket, and I do this analysis on a monthly basis. Roshan, before we proceed with set questions, let's take a couple of audience questions as well, because I saw that Vajramali has asked this question a little while ago. So let me feature the question. She's asking, please explain very briefly how you win the game of business, I suppose, started without any experience. I think Vajramali seems to be asking about an entrepreneurial journey, might be the game of business. So we might actually discuss these topics in detail in some of the upcoming shows. But Roshan, for Vajramali, would you be able to briefly give an answer with your experience?
Uh,
How would someone start without any experience in business?
I think you don't need experience to start a business because sometimes we think we need experience to start our own business. No, we don't need that. So because we have all the guidance and everything in place, even we can use lots of materials to understand how that can be done. So and please get help from others as well. Sometimes you know a person who is doing that business. So always get the advice from the person who is doing that better than you. So
Mhm.
so they will definitely help you. So and again, You have to remove your fear. I think that's the main thing. The fear is the things stop doing things. So if you
Absolutely.
remove the fear, then
Mhm.
you can do anything.
Yeah.
So that's why you always see on my background, there's on the top it says you can do anything. So
Yeah.
if you think you
Yeah.
can do it, you can. So
Absolutely. Roshan, just to add to that, like, I mean, you talked about fear of doing things, I mean, for entrepreneurs. Now, like a lot of the things that we, like, I mean, we speculate that will go wrong in future are not actually going to happen, right? I mean, we think this would happen, this would collapse, this would happen, all the things we speculate about the future. If I do this, this will happen. But most of the time, 90% of the time, those things never happens. So I mean, that's where this risk taking thing, if you look at it that way. Now think about, like, I mean, okay, I mean, how I do it. This is like, I start thinking about myself 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I feared doing certain things, assuming that this would happen, that would happen, and all that. But none of those things happened, right? So
yes,
likewise, if you foresee your future, there'll be like 10 different negative thoughts comes to your mind. This would happen, that would happen, this would happen. But most of the time, those things will never happen. Those bad things will never happen. So focus on what you want to do and give it a try. Of course, it's risky. Entrepreneurship, starting a business, it's risky. But I mean, that's where you start. You have to start somewhere. I mean, there's this African proverb also. I mean, don't what I think, don't put your both feet on in water at once. Put only one foot and then test the water and then put the other. So this African proverb is there. I mean, I'm from that itself. Let me take the next question from our audience. Dilshan is asking. I think this again is a question that we could actually discuss over and over again. I mean, in lengthy sessions. Uh, Dilshan is asking, Roshan and Amita, what is your thought on the current thought process, specifically among the youth, that you can't get ahead financially with 9 to 5 job? Is a side hustle mandatory? Does this mean everyone needs to start their own business at same point? Absolutely a great question, Dilshan. I think I've heard so in so many other forums, places, that people say 9 to 5 job can't give you anything. I disagree. No, I am an entrepreneur, but I started doing a 9 to 5 job and I did it right. And same way, Roshan did a 9 to 5 job some time back. He did it right, and he's an entrepreneur now. I mean, there is nothing wrong in doing a 9 to 5 job. Roshan, you want to add to that?
yes, I think I want to add that because sometimes you think I will come out and I want to start my own business, but you know please do 9 to 5 job first because you need the experience. You need
Absolutely.
experience. You need to work with other people, and then you will learn. So working for 9 to 5 job is very important because I did for I think 15 years 9 to 5 job. So
Yeah.
I learned my discipline because I have to go by 9 to start the job. So go, think about if you want to go for your job and start the job 9. It's not easy. You have to wake up early and you have to get ready and you have to catch the bus and you have to go there by 9. So that creates the discipline you want to later.
Mhm.
You want to become a entrepreneur. You can do that. So
Yeah.
first create the discipline and especially working with other people, you will get exposure and the experience. So that is very important, I think, before you become entrepreneur.
Yeah,
So
actually, Roshan, just to share my experience. Actually, I stepped out from my day job, or the 9 to 5 as they call it, back in December 2020. Now it's been almost 1 year, but for that last 1 year, I even if it's my own venture, I worked not 9 to 5, sometimes 9 to 9, right? So, I mean, we used to do that when we were working for other companies, and we are doing the same when we are working for our own. I mean, if you can't do a 9 to 5 job, you cannot become a good entrepreneur anyway, because you need to have that discipline to focus on what is expected and produce results. So you create that discipline, and then you come out and you replicate that in your own business venture. That's how you get the exposure. If you are trying to get out from your day job to start a new business or become an entrepreneur simply because you hate going to work at 9, it's never going to work. I mean,
Correct.
if you can't wake up at 5 in the morning, you are not going to make a good entrepreneur. That's my experience, at least. I don't know, like, I mean, there may be so many other entrepreneurs who wake up at 8 in the morning and still being successful, but my experience is you should have that discipline to put the hours, and those hours has to be effective hours as well. Roshan?
Yes, I think you told everything I need to tell. So that's I think, and I want to add something for the Vajramali, the question she asked. And when
Mhm.
you start something without no experience, and you will make many mistakes. So when you make many mistakes, don't worry. You will make mistakes. So
Absolutely.
learn from that, but don't do the same mistake again. So
Yeah.
that's what I want to tell. You will
Yeah.
make mistake. You start something without any experience, but don't do the same mistake again. So learn from it and make sure you will not do that mistake again.
Yeah. Sure, Roshan. So we'll come back to the questions we've scheduled for today. So that I have a couple of more questions which I wanted to ask from you now. Now, Rich Dad Robert Kiyosaki, he always, I mean, write in his books and his podcast, he talks about that the importance of bringing financial IQ as a curriculum to the school system in US, in the country he lives. Like, even in Sri Lanka, I see that, I mean, there is no such subject in the school curricula other than this technical subject they call as financial accounting, which is an optional subject for O-level students. If you, I mean, for O-level students, it's a optional subject, and if you do commerce only, you will actually learn financial accounting. There is nowhere in Sri Lankan school system where they teach financial IQ to children, or managing finance to children. And sometimes in certain cultural circles, talking about money to children is a taboo subject in Sri Lanka, right? Now, I mean, don't make don't make children greedy about money by talking about money to them. This is something that I hear in certain cultural circles. What's your opinion about this? So should we consider this as a subject to be studied by children at the early ages of, let's say, 10, 12, 13 years?
Uh, I will say, Amitha, not in Sri Lanka, even in UK as well. I don't see this subject in
Mhm.
their education system. So that is a big problem, because that's why in even developed countries, or developing countries, the money is a problem because they don't know how to manage their money. So the same situation in every country. Why every country is in a debt? Even UK also in a debt. Okay, so because they don't know how to manage it. So and don't now you know what's happening in our country as well, because we don't know how to manage the debt. So and assets and liabilities and income and expenses. So I think at least if we can include this as a subject, or a part of a subject, like we have financial accounting in Sri Lanka as a
Right.
not mandatory subject, but we
Yeah.
can make it
So
mandatory.
imagine that it'll be maybe like another 10 years ahead from now for the government, the education ministry, to consider this as a subject. But what should parents do? Should they systematically teach their young children about personal finance management from an early age? What's your opinion about that?
My opinion, Amitha, I think as far as parents start doing things at home,
Hmm.
children will follow. So you don't need to teach children how to spend money, because as far as you follow at home, that So children will see that. Our children will follow what adults do. So as far as you are doing at home, and they will start talking about money straight away. When you talk about money at home, so let's talk about money at home, then your children will start talking about money at home. Sometimes my elder daughter is saying, I want to start a business once I grow up. So that's good. So, and talking about sometimes money, as soon as you do it at home, at least now onwards, then children will automatically follow it. And again, if they can learn something from the school curricula as well, so that will help. So I think both has to
Yeah.
be go.
Yeah, Roshan, I think I lost you a bit there because there was a drop in my connection, but nevertheless, I think our audience would have continuously heard what Roshan explained on that particular topic. Okay, Roshan, so we talked a lot about personal finance management, and we are coming to the top of the hour. And but before that, like I have few more questions to ask from you, like now. Roshan, now as a Sri Lankan expat who lived in UK for a long, long time, now what are your advices to those who are aspiring to migrate to UK for their studies, or setting trying to settling their permanently? Because these days a lot of the people are talking about leaving Sri Lanka, migrating, you know, Australian PR to Canadian PR and all that. Like now you've done it, right? You've done it, and you achieved a certain level of success by doing it. And with that experience, what do you have to share with our younger audiences today joining in who are aspiring to do the same in future?
Amitha, I will say like this, sometimes when you are just pass out from universities, so it is easy for you to come to another country and start the things. You can start the doing education, and then after that you can settle down in the country. It is easier to do that when you start younger. But when you are like close to 40 or 35, 40, then you have to come, because you have to come and you have to start all over again. So that will be sometimes the tough way to do it. But still, if you are qualified and you have skills developed already, so there are a path you can choose to come. So I think it's better they get advice from qualified professionals before they come. So there are lots of routes in UK as well. There are lots of route education, and there are highly skilled routes as well. So sponsorship routes. So there are lots of routes they can use to come to the UK. So I would suggest them to have a chat with the consultant, qualified consultant, and get the advice and follow the dream.
Perfect, perfect. Thanks. I think that would add a lot of value for especially our younger generation who are actually watching in today. That would be a great advice for them who are considering this as an option. Right. So, Roshan, now we are approaching the top of the hour, and we have 1 hour to wind up the session. And my last question to you, as a closing remark. Now, I know that even though you are residing in UK for a long time, you have all your connections, contacts back in Sri Lanka, and you must be following what's going on in the country, the world, as in general face this pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, and Sri Lanka was no exception. But like these days we are, I mean, there are discussions about the national finance, right, situation of Sri Lanka, the economy, and there are like lot of discussions. As I said, I mean, I don't want to use the term crisis, but we are heading towards rough seas. Now, in such a situation, like as individuals, as individual citizens, what do you think like our contribution should be? What sort of things we can do as individuals when the country's overall economy is heading towards a rough sea? I know, I mean, we won't be able to solve all the problems, but do you think that, I mean, especially when it comes to this, like the dollar crisis or the foreign exchange crisis, so these things going on, how do you think that as individual citizens we can do something or contribute something towards this?
Yeah, I think as we discussed last nearly 1 hour now, so regarding the money, so as soon as you can start managing your money and think what the expenses you don't need to do, and cut down the expenses you can, and please try to manage your money as much as you could right now, because if we have to face tough in future, so you need to prepare for it. So please try managing your finance, and see what you can do individually to have a positive net asset and positive P&L. So if you can at least create positive P&L and positive net asset yourself and collectively, sometimes it will impact to the country. So
Yeah,
I know countries country situation, but I don't want to talk about politics in this discussion. Uh, I think individually you have a responsibility as well. Uh, Please try to manage your money. So money is very important. Even the situation is money. Amitha.
absolutely.
We don't have a dollar. So dollar is money. So
Yeah,
the situation is the problem. Every time the problem is the money.
yeah,
So not you try to manage your money, at
yeah,
least your personal
yeah,
finance. So then ultimately, I think we
yeah.
can.
I
Uh,
think we can be, I mean, individually we can learn a lesson from the country's situation. If you don't manage your finances right, you will
yeah,
end up in a crisis. So
yeah.
that's something that we can individually learn. Anyway, thank you very much, Roshan, for actually joining the show today and actually sharing your valuable inputs, valuable thoughts. I'm sure, I mean, from the feedback that I got in the comment section, they absolutely loved your inputs, and they really like. And there are some more questions coming in, but unfortunately, we are heading the top of the hour, so we have to wind up right now. But let me tell you this to our audience, that I'll arrange another session, follow-up session with Roshan maybe sometime in the next season, and I'm sure there may be like a lot of questions around personal finance management for our audience to ask from Roshan. So we'll take it to another session, and in the next session or the next linked up with Amitha live show, I'm going to do this on 24th of this month, January. The next session will be, or the next show will be on 24th of January. And I'm going to bring in another Sri Lankan expat living in the UK who is a serial entrepreneur. So I will do the introductory post very soon on my LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to talk to a serial entrepreneur based in United Kingdom, and we are going to discuss about his experiences of being an entrepreneur, a serial tech entrepreneur in UK, and what are his success stories, failure stories. We are going to learn from both the success stories and failure stories, because a lot of the time people talk only about the success stories, but we'll talk about failure stories as well in this program. And we are going to learn a lot from these experts. Right. So thank you very much, Roshan, once again. So for joining this show today. And any last comments that you want to share with our audiences? So
Um, Last comment I will say like this. I think at least if you are not doing record keeping, uh, please start this. So don't expect anything can happen overnight, but please do it for at least 2 to 3 years time, then you will see the difference. So please try and try to yourself and do this. I hope you will come back later and say thank you. So, and thank you, Amitha, again for inviting me to the show and your first show, and it was a great pleasure to have a chat with you as well.
All right, Roshan. Then thank you very much. And thank you very much to our audience who tuned in, connected live today. And as I said, 24th January, I'll be going live once again on LinkedIn with another guest like this. And be in touch on LinkedIn and you'll get to know the links to access the show. So until such time, good night, everyone, and have a wonderful week ahead.